Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Astral Sorcery. Today we're going to be covering the Evershifting Fountain, Neromantic and Fysallidic Primes, as well as how to use an Ichosic Resonator. What? That's a lot of big words. Don't worry, I'll cover it. Alright, this is a pretty crazy looking contraption. If you've never seen one before, this is something that was implemented in previous versions of Astral Sorcery, but it has changed in some slight ways. Primarily though, let's start off with the Astral Tome. If you look in here, you're going to want to look in the Radiance chapter once again, and at the very bottom we've got the Evershifting Fountain. This is the base that you're going to need, and then you can add on additional primers to allow it to do different things. There's a Fysallidic Prime, and there's a Neromantic Prime. Each one has very different effects and properties, but you're also probably going to want an Ichosic Resonator if you're going to be using the Neromantic Prime. Now, let's actually show you a little bit about how this is set up, shall we? Alright, I have an Evershifting Fountain here. If you're curious about it, recipe is a little bit crazy. It does require an iridescent altar, which is the top tier. And of course it requires a little bit of stuff around the outer edges, as I've shown in previous episodes. If you're curious about it, check out the playlist. You'll have, links all over the channel that you can check out. But otherwise, you could probably make one of these things. You're going to want to place it down, and if you're in survival, like so, and you take your resonating wand, you click on it, it will tell you the area that needs to be cleared, as well as the areas that you need to build in. Now in this case, I've got a whole bunch of snow in the way, which actually here, let me kind of break it and get rid of a bunch of that. I also have a bunch of stone in the way. Let me grab this, and then we can make this go bye-bye real quick because I've got special stuff going on with my pick. Just dig that up. There we go. And it is now clear. Heck, I'll even take that one away. Now, if I click on this, it should show that I have these 4 pillars going on out here. This is going to show you the base area that you're going to need to start building in. Going back into creative mode, I can better illustrate, and therefore you'll start building up layer by layer the different objects that you'll need in order to make this work. But as I'm in creative, I'm going to take a shortcut and just instant build it. So therefore, you can now see that it requires a rather large area for it to function. Now it does have some similar effects to other rituals and things like that, potentially, but currently just know that by itself right now, it's not going to do a darn thing. And where you place it is very, very important, because what I'm going to show you is how you can use a Neromantic Prime to destroy a very large amount of this very spiky boy here that we've got, this tall mountain as it is. But before I do, let's talk about the Ichosic Resonator and how it's used, because we've just built the structure for this, but there are different interchangeable parts for this. Think of it as like customizing your vehicle, but it's in a much more drastic fashion, like changing it from using petrol or gas to something more along the lines of it's now battery powered and has wings. So the Ichosic Resonator, it is formed with an octans styled, attuned crystal in the altar, and you will change your original, phasic resonator to have a third mode. That's right. You can now sneak and change it between Domic, phasic, and Ichosic. I guess that's how it's pronounced. Don't ask me. I'm only interpreting how it's read. Now, what in the world does this mean? This represents that there are liquids nearby. Now, how will this work in mod packs that have other liquids besides the 2 vanilla Minecraft liquids of lava and water? Yes, there's also milk, but that's not placeable in the world. Basically, you could, while holding the Ichosic Resonator, it's going to give you a kind of a preview of, there we go, different liquids that you can use this to mine for you. Therefore, it will just bring them up from bedrock. They don't actually exist in the world, but they will be brought up from below bedrock. They're kind of like brought up. And over here, we've got a water area. We've got lava. We've got, lava here. And as you saw while I was standing here, we've got lava in this area. So essentially, we're going to need to get some lava out of this, which is what we're going to be using the Neromantic Prime for. Once I put this in place, it actually goes underneath, because that is how these things are primed, which the Neromantic Prime is made, again, with an Octan's attunement, which it's got quite a bit of stuff there. But you have it in place, and there you go. It's doing its job. No, it's not doing anything. You're going to definitely want to get yourself a containment chalice, or in fact, several. There's a big reason for this. One is because it's going to start, bringing up different liquids for you, and you need to have something to store it in. So you put those there. The other being that you need to power this thing. It runs on liquid starlight. So therefore, how do I power it? You can't just pump it into this like you can with other mods. You actually need to have a containment chalice with liquid starlight there. Now just putting in a few buckets worth just to get it going, it's going to power itself up. And then you'll see the results of this giant starlight mining device. Pow! Just kind of destroyed all of that. And you can see it's starting to do some lava transportation to the nearby containment chalices. Chalices? Chalices? I don't know. But you can see that it did a really good job of destroying a very large amount of this, and it goes all the way down to bedrock. Yeah. And all those blocks are now actually destroyed. For example, I'll show you a little something here. Let's build this back out. Oh, look, it just keeps on mining those out. So you don't really want to modify this much. There is a certain area that you might be able to work with, but it will start mining things out in an area. I will demonstrate this better at another location. But you can see that it is now currently, kind of filling these up with lava. On top of that, it's not actually interacting this with that. So you're not getting the usual like sand difference from these two because it's being powered by this. But this is constantly being drained for it to constantly be making you more lava. So therefore, this is one way you can convert your starlight into lava or water if you so desire to power your objects. Or your different chalices so that they can interact or do whatever it is you want. Now, in different mod packs, there is some compatibility with this setup so that you can use it to, I don't know, maybe find oil or, whatever other liquid resources might be available out there so that you can potentially mine them up using this contraption. Really darn cool. If you want to shut it off, obviously you can, just run out of starlight juice and it will just slowly stop. And you would think that perhaps you could add in some kind of like a lever on the side. At this point, there isn't an option to just kind of flick a lever to turn it off. Just only put in about as much starlight as you really want to use. If you need to, you can just take bucket it back out into a different chalice, containment chalice or something like that, and then you should be good. If you need to, though, you can always, make sure that these aren't interacting. If you have like lava in one spot and you've got some backup, liquid starlight buckets or something, you can turn these off so that they don't interact with anything if you so desire. Just a thought in case there is issue with storing some nearby liquid starlight in another containment chalice. Alright, so here we are at another one, and I just wanted to show you a little something about it. Yes, I kind of decorated it a little bit to make it look a little bit more interesting. This one is currently harvesting water, or at least it was, until all these were full. And just to give you an idea of the area that you can cover, you can actually go slightly outside of the ruined marble on the corners. You can actually have them going up above by at least a block with these containment chalices. Once you get so far up here, it will stop actually, filling those up or accessing them. Obviously, you definitely want to have the one in the middle with the astral or the liquid starlight buckets. You can have stuff feeding this, by putting down some light wells and having those just kind of, slowly feeding some liquid starlight into this. But you just kind of have to, work it out how you best will have it work for you. Going down below, it's the same thing. You can go down about 1, 2, 3 blocks, so like 1, 2, 3 blocks here before it ends up stopping with the containment chalices for those ones. So for those that are curious about the setup and the reach for it, there you go. Therefore, this allows you some measure, if you want, of accessing underneath these, and you can pump them out. You don't even have to have a whole bunch of them. You could probably just have one, and then you just pump it out into like larger tanks or something like that in your modded playthrough. Alright, so enough with the Neromantic Prime. Let's talk about the Fysallidic Prime. Yeah, the names are ridiculous, but the benefits are really interesting. So this one here requires, I believe that's Visio for the attunement crystal to be in the altar. And then of course you've got your 4 different items here and a bunch of your ingredients. It's not too bad. But again, it's similar to the Horologium, or the Corrupted Horologium ritual, but also different. It will still mount on here the same way as the Neromantic Prime did, underneath. You click it in place, and while being fed liquid starlight, it will create this big, like, fan effect, if you will. It's pretty darn cool. It will not mine out the ground below. It will just need a bit of clearance below it, though, because of this. This thing here is essentially going to be your time stopper device. It is on a limited countdown, and it's also dependent upon the quantity and or quality or dangerousness of your mobs. So, if I were to grab something like a little spooter here, drop it down, oh, crud. Let me change it to normal mode. Let's try that again. Drop a spider, it gets pulled in. That's the difference between this and a corrupted horologium, or a horologium with a Alcara trait crystal ritual. Ooh, man, all the names. If you toss it in here, it's going to get sucked into place, and then it gets frozen, time stopped. Now this will also work, same thing as the other ritual, with big mobs, like withers, or perhaps even end dragons. But be aware that, you know, they have their limitations and may be able to break blocks. If I can even push this guy, I don't think I can push him. Yeah, he's pretty much stuck there until he either dies or this ritual runs out. But that's the thing, is that while suspending something as powerful as an ender dragon, the liquid starlight, even if being fed by other light wells nearby or something, is still not going to be able to keep up with it. It will freeze or time stop the creature and have a chance of actually surviving being destroyed, because this will pull in nearby entities, whereas the ritual itself just exists and has a small globe that it will affect. So you're going to want to be cautious of that. You can see that there are some nearby mobs that aren't being affected. This Enderman, on the other hand, has been affected and is currently time stopped. He got sucked in from a good distance away. Let's see just how far this one goes. Pretty darn far, actually. There we go. There's your distance there for it, which is probably, oh, yep, gets sucked in there. Probably a little bit further than the Horologian ritual, and therefore will, you know, kind of have the effect being dragged in, allowing you to just kind of finish off your mobs as you want. And yes, like I said before, it's not going to dig out this entire area. That's the Neromantic Prime. This is the Fysallidic Prime. I can say words, I can. And it will only clear out an area maybe down to about here-ish, I guess, is probably all that it needs cleared because of this glowing orb in the bottom, which is just really darn cool. So that's it for now. There may be more content in the future of Astral Sorcery, because there are actually further, you know, chapters that are yet to actually happen. As well as, you know, even if you look in the menu here and you look up something like Prime, I already see a Pt15 Prime, but it has no use currently in the version that I'm in. So who knows what will happen in the future. I look forward to doing more bit by bits on this mod. It is one of my favorites of all time. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, be sure to come by, visit us on Twitch, help spread the mischief, and don't forget to click that notification bell. See y'all next time. Bye.